Senior living can be among the best years of your life. For many people in Lincoln, the legacy retirement communities, with 4 locations around the city, is where those fun-filled years begin. Good morning. I'm Dale Johnson on The Aging Adventure, joined by John Kopetsky from Legacy Terrace and Kathy Blythe, who brings her loving relationship for legacy communities to this conversation every Saturday morning on KFOR. Good morning, John. Good morning, Kathy. Happy holidays to both of you.
And to you too, Dale.
Absolutely, Mr. Dale. Good morning.
Bob Michl is here too. Bob is director of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute to focus on ways to stay a lifelong learner.
Good morning, Bob. Thanks for joining us. One of the great lessons I learned, among a lot of lessons that I learned from Jerry Joyce, the Legacy Communities founder, is the importance of always being curious, always being a learner. And that's exactly what OLLI is about, the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. Can you tell us a little bit about what OLLI is and what a great asset it is for the community?
Absolutely. The Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at the University of Nebraska, we use the acronym OLLI, is a vital and a diverse membership-driven lifelong learning program. And we cater to adults who are 50 years of age and older. OLLI at the University of Nebraska is one of 125 OLLIs across the country. There's an OLLI in every state in the United States, and the OLLI at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln is the only one in this state. We are a self-funded organization. We operate on membership fees and course fees, but we do get some assistance through some endowments from the Bernard Osher Foundation that functions out of Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois. We partner with the College of Education and Human Sciences here on East Campus at the University of Nebraska to provide stimulating and varied learning and social opportunities. We offer non-credit courses, we offer events and travel opportunities, lectures, you name it. Our organization thrives off the volunteers of our members, and all of our committee members, course facilitators, instructors, they all volunteer their time to make OLLI what it is here at the University of Nebraska.
It is really a magnificent organization, Bob. And I know that you've recently stepped into the role as the director of OLLI, which is exciting. Let's find out a little bit more about your personal history, your background in education, and why you wanted to get into adult learning.
Well, let's start with OLLI's motto. Our motto here at the University, OLLI, is curiosity never retires. And I guess I kind of fit that mold. I'm a lifelong educator. I never really wanted to do anything else in my life. I grew up on a farm just east of Exeter, Nebraska, which is about 50 miles west of here. And while my brothers wanted to be farmers, that was something I never, ever dreamed of doing. I always knew I wanted to teach. I wanted to coach. My parents were incredibly supportive of that decision and encouraged me to follow my passion. So I attended the University of Nebraska, and I got my bachelor's degree in English education and physical education, got my coaching endorsement with it. And so I taught 18 years as a college prep English teacher and a journalism teacher, most of those years at Gretna public schools. And I did a lot of coaching there as well. And this is when I realized I kind of had the strengths to be an educational leader. And I went back to school then. I earned my master's degree. I eventually earned a specialist degree and a doctorate degree, all in educational administration. So while I was working on my last 2 degrees, I had moved from Gretna over to Freeman Public Schools, just south of Lincoln in Adams, Nebraska. I assumed the principal position there. I was the athletic director. I was the curriculum coordinator and everything else that you can do in a small school at that particular time. But there came a time when I kind of was ready for something different. And when I retired from that position, it didn't take me long to realize that retirement really wasn't for me. And teaching and learning were still in my blood. And I found a part-time job at OLLI, advertised on the UNL website. I applied for that position, was selected as that part-time coordinator, moved that into a full-time coordinator within 6 months. And in January of this last year, I moved into the director's position when Dee Aguilar, who started the OLLI here at the university, retired. I think what steered me to OLLI was that the OLLI learners are different than high school students. They get to learn what they want to learn about. And I think that's what's unique about senior learning. They have input what they want to learn, and there isn't any homework. There isn't any tests. It's not like going to the university when I took my undergraduate work and I had to do I had to take a class in biology, and I never understood why an English major had to take a biology class, but I had to do it. OLLI members don't do that. They tell us, here's the classes we want you to find, we want you to teach, here's what we want to learn about.
So no homework, no tests, and of course, no parent-teacher conferences.
Oh, thank goodness for all of those, right?
We want to talk to you a lot more, especially about how you put together the class catalog, but we'll do that when we return on the Aging Adventure, which is brought to you by the Legacy Retirement Communities. Our guest today is Bob Michl from OLLI. We'll be right back.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Aging Adventure on KFOR, brought to you by the Legacy Retirement Communities. I'm Dale Johnson. We're learning about lifelong learning with Bob Michl, director of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. Again, here's John Kopetsky and Kathy Blythe.
Bob, before the break, we promised our listeners we would talk more about your catalog. I was looking at your 2021 catalog, and the choices on there are mind-boggling in a good way, but you have something for everybody on just about every subject imaginable. How do you go about even constructing that and putting it all together?
As I said before, a lot of what we do is at the request of members. At the end of every course that we give, there's an evaluation. And one of the last things we ask our members is, what would you like us to do in terms of providing you with courses for the future? And so we work off of that structure. I guess it's really not the OLLI staff here at the university that makes things happen. Our program offerings are driven by a committee structure. We have OLLI members who volunteer their time and their talents, putting together these diverse topics that appeal to such a wide range of interests. So what we've got is 9 different curriculum subcommittees, and they all work together to identify potential course topics and instructors. And also a lot of those ideas, as I said, come from our members. So we have subcommittees that focus on the arts, on contemporary issues, on health and wellness, on history, on diversity, language and literature, lifestyles, religion and philosophy, and then science and math. And the thing is, we don't just focus on the intellectual aspects, but instead on being healthy as a whole. So you'll see our members also learn how to kayak. They learn about gut health, and they learn how to play pickleball. And then they take classes on history like women war correspondence, dark money and politics. Really, there's something for everyone. And Kathy, you talked about what you saw in the first 2 catalogs that we offered in the year. The catalog that we've got coming up next is even more fascinating. Our next term begins in January, and members will receive a catalog, and the catalog actually is online also. Will come online later this month. And we've got some fascinating things coming up. A couple of those. England, the 1960s, and the triumph of the Beatles. Now, who doesn't love the idea of that kind of a course? And one of our members who serves on the committee has gotten, Kent Wolgamath is going to help teach that class. I think everybody knows who Kent is. Another of our great instructors is going to teach a class on Louise Pound, Nebraska's 19th century iconoclast. Well, what people don't know about Louise Pound is there was a relationship with Mabel Lee at the university, and that relationship wasn't as strong as you might think it would be. Ironically enough, as much as Louise Pound was into the athletics, Mabel Lee was the hall that was created to support women athletics. And so they butted heads a lot. And so, you know, it's going to be fascinating to look at the history of people like that. From poodle skirts to the moonshot, history of America in the 50s and 60s is being presented by one of OLLI's favorite instructors, Thomas Berg. He's a former UNL lecturer who continues to volunteer his time. And when he used to teach classes here in the city, we had to rent the Edgewood Theater. Largest theater was 276 people. And we still had a waiting list for that class because that's how good he is at what he does. So those are some fun things. We do have some activity classes coming up in term 3. Zumba Gold has been a popular class, so we're going to reoffer that. We offer gentle yoga in a Zoom setting. People love not having to get dressed and go out and go somewhere to sweat. They can work out right in their home. So there's just a lot of things. Basically, there's something for everybody.
Bob, a few years back here at Legacy Terrace, I had a resident who I believe was 101 or 102 years old at the time, and I was visiting her in her apartment, and I saw a copy of a magazine called the Journal of Astrophysics sitting there. She had a subscription to it, and she said, well, she liked to read that to stay current on things. I don't even know what astrophysics is. Have you ever had an astrophysics class?
No, we have not, but I guarantee you we've had some science classes that get as deep as that. And that's just what's fascinating. There are some members who want to delve into the depth of high level education. And then there's those who are very comfortable with whatever you give me, I'm gonna love hearing about.
As we go to break, Bob, I'll put in a quick plug here for the fact that you alluded to it already, that you offer people the opportunity to come in person, to participate on Zoom, or even a hybrid of doing both, depending upon what the weather is and what their day looks like and so on. So we'll get more into that when we return. You are listening to The Aging Adventure on KFOR, which is being brought to you by the Legacy Retirement Communities.
On The Aging Adventure, brought to you by the Legacy Retirement Communities, we are learning different ways to embrace and enhance life through the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, where Bob Michl is the director. Bob,
we have learned a little bit more about your classes, and we want to learn more about your travel opportunities too, because I think there are people who may be just finding out that that is an important component of OLLI. So talk about some of your travel adventures that are lying ahead in 2022 and what happens on those trips.
It's great to be traveling again, because we were traveling quite a bit before COVID hit, and obviously that pretty much shut us down for a while. But OLLI schedules all of its travels through an arrangement we have with AAA of Nebraska. And so members share input on places they'd like to travel, And we do have a volunteer travel committee as well who works with AAA to put these trips together. And the people at AAA go through all the detail of putting it together, and the committee makes sure that there's a good mix of regional trips, of national trips, and international travel opportunities as well. Because many of our members are at a time in their life where they say, you know what, I do have some money, I can travel, and there's nothing for them to worry about because every detail in the itinerary is planned and prepped. All they have to do is make their payment, show up for the trip, and enjoy a good time. Just in this year alone, since we've started traveling again in August, we took a full group of people to Mackinac Island out in Michigan, which was an incredible experience for them. And then we had a group go to Alaska and experience a little bit different climate. And then recently, we just had a full group get back from Morocco, and they just can't stop singing praises of what a great opportunity that was. So we've got a lot of upcoming things in the works. We do hope to have a trip. It's called the Southwest Getaway. We want to go to Arizona this spring, and it'll entail, the things that you would expect in Arizona, and that would be the Grand Canyon and Sonoma, and maybe even some spring baseball. There is also plans for a trip to Italy coming up. I think that's maybe later in the fall. But we're also looking to go to the Pella Tulip Festival in May, and a trip by rail to the Glacier National Park. We're looking at, again, next fall or sometime shortly after, where we're planning a trip to go to London, Normandy, and Paris. So our members are wanting to travel, and they're really appreciative of all the different opportunities. And there's more. All they have to do is just, we keep our website updated with those spots that we're looking to travel to.
Bob, when people aren't going on an international trip, which, to be honest, I had no idea OLLI was international travel like that. So thanks for sharing that. But what is just an ordinary garden variety, I'm not going to do international travel class look like? Is there such a thing as a typical OLLI class?
Well, I think that's almost like an oxymoron. Typical and OLLI classes don't seem to fit together. When you go into an OLLI class, what you're going to do, first of all, is you're going to see what I believe is a social event. It's amazing how people come to class early, and they come together to talk, to just have some fun and just to socialize. But a typical OLLI class, believe it or not, even though we don't test and we don't have homework, you can't believe the people who come in with notebooks and laptops, and they take notes, and they're absorbed, and they ask questions. And it is truly fascinating, because oftentimes, I remember as a high school teacher and as a high school principal, again, kids are in those classes because they have to be, and when there's time, what kinds of questions do you have? It's crickets. And that's not the case in an OLLI class. They're a very engaged group of people in everything that they do.
It's very contagious to be in the company of people who love lifelong learning. And it's also easy to acquire that, even if you don't think you have it in you. All it takes is one OLLI class to change your mind, or a conversation with somebody who is very passionate about OLLI. We don't want to let time get away from us here, Bob, without giving the specifics on how people can get involved.
Well, and that's great. I'm glad you give me the opportunity to share that, because there's a lot of different ways that people can learn more about OLLI. And opportunities to share like this are fantastic. And so I appreciate the time that you're giving me in that regard. But the quickest and the easiest way to learn more about OLLI at the University of Nebraska is to go to our website. It's real simple, OLLI, OLLI.unl.edu. The site's just full of information, and it even allows people to sign up to be members on the spot. Our most current catalog is always located there as well. And so there's so much that they can learn by going there. If that doesn't work for them, they can always call our offices. Our office number is 402-472-6265. And of course, there's always the email route. Hey, Bob, Karen, whoever's in the office, would you send me some more information about OLLI? And they can email us at olli@unl.edu. all three ways are great ways to find more information. And our staff is devoted, and they're a hardworking group of people who are always happy to share firsthand information like that.
Bob, thanks for joining us this morning. Fabulous information on a fabulous, fabulous program. I know the Legacy residents have been enthusiastic OLLI members for years. So thanks for taking the time to join us this morning and filling us in on a great community resource.
Thanks for having me.
John, how can listeners reach the Legacy retirement communities?
You can call us at 402-436-3000 or online at legacyretirement.com.
Happy holidays, Kathy. We'll talk next week. Every Saturday morning, we look at senior living through the lens of the Legacy retirement communities. Happy holidays to you. I'm Dale Johnson.